This here is issue number 2 of Amy Jo Johnson's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Return comic by Boom Studios. Beginning 22 years ago, Lord Zedd and Rita have just destroyed Zordon and Alpha. They are celebrating on the moon when Babu interrupts to say that the Power Rangers have arrived. This was a trap set by Rita and Zedd, so Zedd tells Finster to have the monsters sent out. And so we see an awesome 2-page spread with the Dinozords in action on the moon. Trini, Billy, Zack and Jason are using their Zords, not aiming to defeat the putties and the monsters, but to buy Tommy and Kimberly some time. So it looks like the Rangers don't have Thunder Zords in this continuity. Also, I just wanted to show my appreciation for some of the monsters from the original TV show. The artwork in this comic is probably the best I've seen from any of the Power Rangers series from Boom Studios. The reason why the Rangers are trying to buy Kimberly and Tommy some time is because the two of them are tasked with placing the Benevolator, Billy's latest invention, someplace with lots of dark energy. The Rangers can then detonate it from the Earth, and purifying energy would be unleashed straight from the Morphin grid and purifying all the bad guys. So this is basically a smaller scale version of the purification wave seen after Zordon's sacrifice at the end of Power Rangers in Space. Tommy decides to place the Benevolator in Rita and Zedd's bedroom. As he sets the Benevolator down, Rita enters and sends the putties after the Rangers. She wants the putties to kill Kimberly, but she herself wants Tommy. Outside, the Zords are now having to fight Goldar and Scorpina as well. Lord Zedd is enjoying the final battle unfold, but notices Rita isn't around to enjoy the fun, so he sends Finster to get her. Rita is impressed, thinking the Rangers are trying to kill her, but Tommy clarifies they're just trying to purify her. So the Rangers still don't want to kill the bad guys. Rita zaps Tommy and he crashes into the Benevolator. Rita looks like she's about to finish Tommy off as she declares there will soon be no more Power Rangers. She stops in her tracks and we see Kimberly has shot an arrow through Rita's chest. So after Kimberly shot Rita from behind, we see Kimberly in shock as Rita collapses to the ground. Tommy tells Kimberly that she saved him. There was no other way, as he would have been killed otherwise. Tommy turns his attention back to the Benevolator and notices that the remote detonator button has been damaged. Billy says there is a fail-safe button, but it only gives a 10-second countdown, so whoever presses it needs to teleport away quickly. Tommy decides it's going to be him and tells Kimberly to leave. Kimberly doesn't want to, but Tommy tells her they both know why she can't stay behind. Considering Kimberly is already wearing her ring, which we saw in the first issue, the reason is likely to be because of their unborn child. Billy says that the Benevolator's output of grid energy is proportionate to the dark energy around it. So, with all the monsters on the moon, it could blow a hole in the moon the size of Angel Grove. Jason says that doesn't matter. They can't win with their Zords, so they must rely on the Benevolator to end this. Tommy and Kimberly embrace, and finally, they kiss. Jason tells the Rangers they need to retreat and to leave their Zords as they are destroyed by the bad guys. So, that's why Kimberly's Zord is the only one left in the present. It wasn't on the moon 22 years ago. Just as Squat informs Lord Zedd that Rita's dead, the Benevolator goes off. Back on Earth, the Rangers arrive at the ruins of the command center. They see the explosion on the moon and the Rangers celebrate, except Kimberly. She collapses to her knees in horror and then bursts out crying when Jason realizes Tommy isn't there. In the present, Kimberly tells Selena that Tommy died saving the world. She doesn't know what happened in the final 10 seconds before the Benevolator went off, but she thinks if she stayed behind, she probably could have saved Tommy. The Rangers saved the world and the world no longer needed the Power Rangers. They were only 15 years old when they became Rangers, so it was time for them to move on and live their own lives. Kimberly moved to Canada and changed her name because she wanted a fresh start, not just from being a Power Ranger, but also Kimberly Hart. So she thinks Trini didn't want Selena to be the next Yellow Ranger. She thinks Trini trusted the morpher to Selena, so she'd take it to Kimberly to ensure that nobody becomes the next Yellow Ranger. Kimberly removes a brick above the fireplace and Selena sees the Pink Ranger's morpher. Selena holds it in her hand and asks Kimberly if she enjoyed killing Rita. Kimberly tells her they didn't go to the moon to kill, it was a malfunction. When Selena asks if there will be anyone like Rita and Zedd again, and if the world will need Power Rangers again, Kimberly says she does not. Selena then asks if she's sure, and transforms to reveal her true form. She resembles Rita Repulsa. Her transformation wrecks Kimberly's home. And after seeing Selena's true form, Kimberly is horrified and the two begin to fight. Selena says she's waited a long time for this, and just as Kimberly asks who she really is, Selena says they're about to have company. Kimberly makes a dive for her morpher on the ground, and as she's about to morph, Selena knocks her down and takes both the power morphers. Finally, we see a car outside the house. Stepping into the dark house, it is Kimberly's daughter. We'll have to wait until the next issue, Daughter, to find out what happens next. We're starting to see what happened in the past in detail, which fills in the blanks for what happened in Reimagine. We now know why Kimberly goes by a new name and why she moved to Canada. She was traumatized by two things. Firstly, she killed Rita when that wasn't the plan. Secondly, Tommy died setting off the Benevolenter. So that explains everything. Having said that, is Tommy really dead? It turns out Selena is a bad guy and more than likely not a relative of Trini's after all. She got her morpher somehow though. Selena's true form resembles Rita, so is she Rita and Zedd's offspring? With a twist like this thrown in, is it possible that Tommy is still alive somewhere? The Benevolenter was supposed to purify the bad guys, but because of the number of monsters on the moon, it ended up just bombing the place. So if the bad guys weren't purified, they should be dead. So who is Selena really? And also, what will Kimberly's daughter do in the next issue? This series is almost over already. Seeing the Rangers' final battle on the moon was cool. Although we've seen that kind of thing in the main continuity of Boom Studios comics already, it was good to see this sort of thing again, but in this reimagined continuity of the 90s show. In fact, it drew parallels yet again with the Once and Always special, because the Rangers and the Dinozords in that were fighting on the moon. Whilst on the Dinozords, the point in time where the original TV show splits off to lead into this reimagined timeline must have taken place earlier. As the Dinozords are still being used, does this mean the timeline changed around the time Lord Zedd first appeared? Or could there be some other explanation, like were the Thunderzords destroyed when Zordon and Alpha were destroyed, and Billy was then able to bring back Dinozords like the Once and Always special? I get the feeling we're not going to get a definitive answer. But I don't mind. I preferred the Dinozords anyway, so seeing them in this series was perfectly fine.